Kinky Moongazer to talk about waxplay.
Hey guys. You'll have to excuse me, I'm really super anxious and very nervous, and so there'll be lots of ums and ahs, just a pre-warning. But yes, my name is Kelly. Thank you for coming in today. I like to do my workshops a bit differently. I like to do them quite informally. So as I'm going through, if you've got a question, then just ask. And I will answer it for you, and then we'll just get back on track. So just relax, enjoy, and we'll just go with that. So there are lots of different types of candles out there with lots of different types of waxes. I'll go over the waxes later on. The most popular ones that you're probably going to find is going to be paraffin candles, and I'll explain about the different temperatures and everything later on for you. So, what do you need to do wax play? Any ideas? Other than what's on the floor right in front of you? So, consent, very much so. So before you start doing anything, have that chat around consent, boundaries, safe words, everything that you would normally do in any type of situation, any sort of play situation. Have that conversation. So you need a dust sheet or a bed sheet, tablecloth, anything that's going to save your flooring, really, because it is messy, really messy, and it does go everywhere, even more so depending on your method of removal, which again we'll go over later. You need body safe candles. You need something to light them with, obviously, because otherwise what's the point? A flat surface to put the candles on. Something that will protect, again, the area that you're in. Today I'm using a slate board. I have got these on my stall out there. You need something to scrape it off with. Scrape it, flog it, whip it, whichever tool you want to use. Pinwheels work really, really well. I like to keep some water. I've got water around. I like to keep some water or a cool flannel, a wet cool flannel, just in case things get a bit too much through the session. You can just place that on to cool down the area. I always keep a first aid kit available, purely because you just never know what's going to happen. With any session, you never know what's going to happen. So a first aid kit should be in there with your kit. And then for aftercare, I like to use aloe vera gel. That will help cool the skin afterwards. That's once you've completely finished your session. During the session, if you have any residue or anything on the body, you can use a vitamin E oil, or you can use really any sort of oil that'll break down the residue and get rid of it. How am I doing?
You're doing good.
All right? Any questions yet? Any questions yet? No? Cool. Awesome. So a few safety things. We've already gone over sort of boundaries, safe words, and just make sure that you're also paying attention to what the sub is doing, like their body. If they're starting to tremble or if they're starting to shake because they're too cold, that's when, same as you would, again, with any play session, be aware of what your sub is doing, how they're feeling, how they're reacting. Don't use candles from places like Tesco's or Sainsbury's. I know that seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? But people do that. They do use candles from that. And one of the main reasons that you shouldn't is because they burn a lot hotter, because they have a lot more chemicals in them. They have a lot more additives to them. So they have things like stearins, which will raise the temperature. They have the fragrance oil, which will raise the temperature again. So really, all in all, from a shop walk candle, you're probably looking that the temperature would be about 90 to 100 degrees, which is very, very hot. That's hotter than a paraffin candle, just with plain paraffin. So I advise against using Also, again, candles with any fragrance in them, you can get clay candles with fragrance in them. What you need to be aware of is that that temperature is going to be higher. So the ones I make, they have a melt point between 35 to 40 degrees, which is actually quite low. When you start adding fragrance oils or any type of oils to them, that goes up. And it will go up to about 40, 45. It's not by much, but if you've got someone that is super sensitive, then they're going to know, that there's a difference. Don't use, I feel like I'm just talking at you. Any questions? No? I would advise, I'm going to categorically say, don't use any gels or oils on the skin before you do wax play. Because once the wax hits the skin, that is going to leave bright red marks. You have the potential for blistering. You have the potential for just taking the skin right off, So I'm going to say just don't do it. Just don't do it. So, wax temperatures. I feel like you guys need to know this. Is boring, but I feel like you need to know it. So soy wax commonly has a melt point of 35 to 40 degrees. Depending on the maker, there are different types of soy wax. You have like parasoy wax, which is a mix of paraffin and soy. Again, has its own temperature. It's going to be a little bit hotter because it's got that paraffin in there as well. You've got a rapeseed and coconut wax, which is a really soft wax, and that has a melt point of 65 degrees. So it's quite high. And again, you have that potential for leaving those bright red marks, for the blistering. It's not one I'd advise, but it has been used before with wax play candles. So I kind of have to let people know, and then you can make your own decisions. Paraffin wax obviously is a harder wax, so it's going to be easier to scrape off. Soy wax is a very soft wax. So depending on the temperature of the person, of the room, depends on how easy it is to get off. So today, it's quite warm in here. So today, once I've dripped the wax, it might be a little bit harder to get off. And then you've got beeswax. Again, don't do it. But I'm going to say I don't advise it. I advise against it. Because I can't categorically tell you not to do it, because there are people out there that have quite masochistic tendencies. So they will look for the hotter temperature. But I would advise against it. Okay, any questions? Oh my goodness. I've normally had questions by now. This is going to be over way quick. Sorry? I was like, what do I put in it? I know, I just put everything. So the best places for pouring, me personally, that I found is sort of down the back, pour it on the front, over the legs, either back or front, and on your arms. Now you can pour it on the genitals if you really want to, depending what candles you're using. Obviously, the higher temperature candles, I would, again, no, don't do it. You're going to burn. But the lower temperatures, like I've had these used on me because I test everything that I make. So I've had these used on me and it's been fine. But I can't say that it would be for anybody else because we're all different. Hair. Don't we all love hair? So wax is really hard to get out of hair. You can use wax on hair. To get it off, the best thing is to get off as much as possible and then either hop and shower, or you can use the vitamin E oil, or you can get a special type of cream that body waxers use afterwards to remove wax, and that works just as well. So removal of the wax. There are a few ways that you can remove wax. You can use a knife, which is great if you want to incorporate some sort of knife play into it as well. Sensation wise, it's quite nice. Personally at home, I use one of the old 70s style butter knives, the real blunt ones. Yeah, that were in your nan's drawer. Yeah, I used one of those. My nan knew what I was doing with it. Jeez. Yeah, so I use one of those at home if I'm doing a wax session. They work quite well. I've had a kitchen chopping knife used on me. That was quite nice. Yeah, there are different things that you can use. You can use scrapers. So when I'm out in public, I use a scraper. That scrapes the wax off just as well as a knife would. You can flog it off if you want to. That gets really messy. That is really, really messy, especially if you're using UV wax. Yeah, you'll find those waxes everywhere for like 4 months afterwards. I've seen people use a flea comb. Interesting, but it worked. You can get resin knives, you can get wooden knives, you can get resin tools, you can use claws, pinwheels, really anything to get the wax off that you want to get it off with. But the main thing people use is a scraper or a knife. We'll do aftercare a little bit afterwards, but I'm just gonna. This is where I need you to ask questions now because I've run out of stuff to say. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of a play here with my little bee. I don't even know why I agreed to do this. Like, public speaker.
Do you find that different colours have a different temperature feel?
I'm glad you put that because a lot of people are under this kind of myth that the colour makes a difference. It doesn't make a difference. What makes a difference is the height that you hold it from. So obviously, the closer you are to the body, the hotter it's going to be. The further away you are from the body, the less hot it's going to be when it drops because it will have cooled by the time it's dropped on the person. I mean, I've had black used on me before, and then I've had white used on me before, and they've both been the same. I've had UVs used on me, which I've been told feel a lot hotter. I haven't really felt a difference. Maybe that's just my candles, but you know, going through vigorous testing with them was interesting.
Do you ever test the temperatures and the wax before you got like implements for testing?
No, I've got implements for testing, and I always take one candle out of each batch I make, and I test it, and then whatever's, I don't put that out for sale, but I'll remelt the wax and put it back into the same batch. But yeah, I have my own ways of testing. I've got kitchen thermometers, which are the most sensitive thermometers that I think you can get. And they tell me the temperatures. Sorry if I flashed it off. I didn't mean to.
So do you know which parts of the body are the most sensitive and which ones are the least?
So the most sensitive is going to be the backs of the legs up top here, and the arms around the inside. So as the wax strips down, it may be a little bit sensitive around here. Obviously the genital areas, and for women, like boob areas. It's quite soft skin. So we've previously tested today on the inside of her arm to make sure that the temperature is okay. But I would say if you're working with somebody new or you don't know or you've never tried wax before, then always test it on the inside of your arm because that skin reflects more the different areas of sensitive areas of the body. You ready? Okay, I'm going to go quite high to start off with. Mm-hmm. You can see it splashing already. Oh, that's why I like it. Okay. Or you can go a bit closer. Is that right? In there. Bit much. Always stay in communication with the person you're working on. If you're using pillar candles, make sure you rotate the candle, because that will keep it at a level. I did that. Yeah. Was it too hot?
A little bit when you brought it closer.
Okay.
So does layering several layers of wax bring up the temperature as well?
No, it doesn't. It actually blocks the temperature coming through. So if I was to put another, say, 2 layers on that, like the 4th layer, she probably wouldn't feel, because you've already built the wax up in that area. Ready? Oh, maybe. I'm not really good at doing the patterns, unfortunately. I'm very, very good at doing the dripping, but not so much the patterns.
Would you recommend sticking with one type of candle when you're doing wax play? So you're saying about the different sort of
The different temperatures.
Yeah.
You can mix them up. Obviously, like the soy, dependent again on temperature, might not necessarily come off quite as well as paraffin would. But there isn't any reason that you can't mix them up. Yeah. Well, it's Valentine's Day, so I thought I'd try and do it more.
You mentioned not using gels and oils before. Is there anything you suggest about preparing like the skin before?
Preparing the skin, I would just say make sure that it's clean. Actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I had someone once who was saving the wax bits after their wax session, and he was using household candles from Tesco's. So I went to a play event, and he was at a play event, and asked whether we could do wax. And I said, yes, that's fine, as long as you use my candles, because he said that he'd been remaking from the scrapes. Please don't do that. So when you scrape the wax off, obviously it's going to take the top layer of skin with it. So to remold those, you're going to be remolding with skin. Yeah, no, I'm with you. So yeah, I was just like, yeah, can we just use my candles and put on it? I was like, you are not collecting this questions.
Also, I know this is a bit of an obvious question. When you're after you've played, obviously if you can have a shower afterwards, would you recommend having not a hot shower just because of having hot wax on your skin?
It depends. A lot of people like sensory play and sensation play. So after a wax session, your skin is going to be quite sensitive. So anything you do to it is going to have that heightened effect to it. You can mix a lot of things in with wax to make it a more sensory involved thing that you're doing. So you can involve things like ice, feathers, nails, to increase that sensation for yourself. And yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So in respects to showering, if you want to increase your, I picked it back up again then.
have a hot shower basically, so that you
Yeah.
feel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll give you. It's quite a nice feeling actually having a hot shower after you've had a wax session. In respects to,
Thingy.
yeah, it's a little bit stingy. So if you like stingy, then go for it. Okay, ready?
And you do the opposite on the other way around. So if they have a cold shower or warm shower beforehand to prepare the skin.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Just don't exfoliate.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, do you know what? I might try that next time. I'll report back.
Don't shave. Don't shave or exfoliate.
So just to plug a little bit, I do sell starter sets. It comes with the dust sheet. It comes with 2 candles. It has a scraper, a lighter, and some aloe vera gel. And they are £30 and they can be found on the store just now. If you want to buy the candles separately, they are £5 or 4 for 18. Scrapers are 2. I haven't got any lighters today. I ran out of those. I'm a great trader, aren't I? I do sell white candles as well. Now, white candles are quite interesting because when they pour, they're quite clear. So you don't really see a colour until they solidify. You ready?
I bet it feels quite amazing down sort of the sides.
It
They're really
does.
sensitive, so when it
It
drips
really
down,
does.
it probably feels quite nice. Not like
I can second that.
good.
I have been known to fall asleep before.
Oh, I'm trying not to.
Or just drift off. You know. But then I drift off during an impact session. So
That's a bit of a kink in itself, though, isn't it?
I don't think I'm really a measure for drifting off anyway.
If they do fall asleep, is there any upper limits of the amount of time that you can wax play on someone?
There isn't.
Fully encased.
But what I would say is this is where it comes back to knowing the person that you're playing with and being aware of how their body works and, you know.
So literally hydration and the amount of candles you have.
Yeah, you can go for as long as you like.
You have got candles in little cups with little pores. Would you advocate those for beginners over? Because I see you rotating.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'm thinking of, I can see myself burning my hand and going, ouch.
So the tins that I sell,
Yeah, the little cups.
the way you would use those, I forgot to pick one up. The way you would use those is you would light them. You need to make sure they have a smooth melt pool first, and then blow the flame out, and then you can use it to pour. What that means is that unlike these, where you're just kind of dripping it in, you can do a real smooth pour, so it will go longer, and you can get more shape with it. I have layered candles as well, which work really well for extended play sessions, and they go down through different colours. So I've got a UV one that has all of my UV colours, and I've got a rainbow one that has all of the rainbow pride colours on it. And as you work through, it looks really awesome. I've done a pride flag on someone's back before now, and it looked ace. I've got to take pictures, of course. But it did look really good. I will use the UV ones in a minute. Are you ready? Well, balls that hard. What you can do as well is you can pour the wax, and you can cut shape out of it as well using a knife or a scraper. We use a UV one. You tell them if it's hotter or not. Nice, yes. Okay, ready?
No.
No?
No. No, it's the same thing. No.
I like the UVs because the UVs make really pretty patterns.
Do you think the idea that it's hotter comes from people coming closer to make a pattern out of the UV?
Possibly. I think it's a lot to do with the psychology of it as well. You know that wax is going to be hot. So, you know, it's kind of, and in this lifestyle, people get told certain things and certain things go around, and then you get it stuck in your head. And it's just kind of trying to dispel that myth a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it could be. We like to dispel myths here. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
I get so excited. Like I said before, just check in with yourself every now and then, unless they're asleep. It might be a bit difficult, it might be a bit rude to wake them up.
Is it still rude to carry on?
No. I probably would just still carry on. I went over it with green.
That just means more wax.
I know! You're really sad about that, aren't you?
Totally.
You're all staying for the after party.
Yeah.
So that UV wax really glows.
That'd be great at a club.
Absolutely. So, aftercare. Obviously, once you've done everything and you've finished your session, we need to move into kind of the aftercare stage. This is where sort of you find out whether they're feeling a little bit warm or if they're a little bit cold. If they're a little bit cold, then have a blanket to hand as well. And you can wrap around them. Aloe vera gel will help with bringing the coolness down on the skin if they're feeling a tad warm or a bit sensitive. I like to try and have some water around and maybe some sweets for a little sugar boost, just where they've maybe dropped during the session. That will help bring them around. I wouldn't use any creams or any type of bandaging if something has happened during the session. I wouldn't use any creams or bandaging. The most that I would say to use is going to be aloe vera, because that's really good for burns. One thing I get asked a lot It's what happens if I get it into my carpet. I got you covered. So you need some brown paper and an iron. So you just place the brown paper on top of the wax, iron over the top of it, the paper will soak up the wax, and then you can get it off the carpet. Pretty much, that is it apart from the straightener. So I tend to try and pull the skin taut and just scrape my way through. So much nicer when you enjoy what you do.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So in terms of your scene, have little sessions with loads of different people. I know you talked about the time before. There's not really any long-term times that you have to stop, but like if you have like smaller sessions,
Mm-hmm.
would you have a recommended time for like spend on one?
Not really. Not really. You can spend as little time doing it as you like, or as long as you like doing it. I've done little sessions on myself where I've just tipped it over my legs and they've been 5 minutes, and that's been good enough, you know. Again, it comes down to the sub, like what they're doing, whether they're calling safe words, you know. It's really just, waxplay is really simple. A lot of people try and make it a lot more complicated than it actually is. But it is really, really simple. Don't overthink it. Just enjoy what you're doing. You know, pay attention to what the sub is doing, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
And then in terms of if you're in more of a dungeon setting, do you have like a preference in where they like how they sit or lay, like what equipment they're on?
No, that is completely up to you. If you're going to a dungeon, I would double check with them what equipment you're allowed to play on. Because there are some dungeons that they don't have, they have equipment where they don't like you playing.
Yeah.
Some have a dedicated wax play area,
Mm-hmm.
which is always fun. I just enjoy wax play too much. But
Quite
yeah,
therapeutic, scraping it off. Sorry to interrupt. Isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
yes. And depending on how much wax you've got on there as well, depends sort of how it will come off. So as you can see, like there's the heat in here, and actually it's just quite warm. This is coming off a bit softer than it would if you had, say, the aircon on. But what I like about these candles is that once I'm done with this, I can show you. Because it's a soft wax, you can get off as much as you can. That being on her side. People always get stuck on this side.
Understanding bare skin's probably the best environment to use wax on, but can like someone wearing
Yeah.
latex, PU,
Yeah.
PVC?
You can use it on all of those. Some people just don't like being naked in front of people. So yeah, you can do it on all of those. One of the best ones I've done it onto is latex. It's good fun. Did I get it?
About another inch or 3 inches on the run.
We didn't sign up for Tickle Play, is that all right?
That's it.
Have I got it?
You've got the phone. Do one more go.
To make sure that everything's off.
So yeah, you can just have it in.
Are there any places on the body where like you really not really use it? Like a good
On your face?
Yeah.
On your face.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the only place.
And like not in mouths or
Oh yeah,
yeah.
there are people that do like candle play in their mouth.
Yeah.
These candles would be safe to do that. But yeah, I wouldn't advise using sort of paraffin or anything if you're going to be doing that.
Yeah.
Um,
And like I mean I just read for example more guys putting it like in the belly because of the belly button, like it gets too hot and feels like a layer of melted wax in the belly button. Is that true or is that
never tried it in the belly button, I'm not going to lie, so I can't answer that question. However, if you want to leave your email address, I can definitely go and ask. I know quite a few people that do waxplay, so I can go and ask them and find out for you if you wanted. That's such a good question.
What about people with skin conditions like eczema or stuff like that?
So with that, you can do wax play with people that have skin conditions.
Yeah.
What you do need to be aware of is when you're scraping off, it may not be the most comfortable for them. So if you were, I would say if you're going to be doing it on someone that's got a skin condition, then find a soft wax, a bit like the soy ones, and use that as opposed to paraffin, and just make sure that there's extra aftercare afterwards, and you use extra aloe or extra oil on their skin. One thing that wax play is actually really good for that I found is chronic pain conditions, because the heat from it. I have fibro, so if I do a wax session, it's like on my back. I'm like, yeah, thanks. Thanks. Can we do it again? This is after we finished everything. So yeah, it's really good for like warming the joints through and everything. It's quite nice. Quite nice. Anything else? No? Are we sure? You can always come and talk to me on the stall. I do have a website as well that you can contact me through. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, so if you've got any questions at all, please just ping me a message there and I'll be happy to answer any of them. Because I know what it's like, you do a workshop like this and then you're like, oh, I forgot to ask that question. Just ping me through and I'll answer the questions for you.
What is the best way to remove it from a flogger, for example, if you...
That would be oil again. But if it's a leather flogger,
Yeah.
just be careful, because you'll obviously have to do the oil and then make sure that you take the oil off of it so it doesn't sink into the leather. It is good. Sorry. There is that. They've got actually I saw upstairs they've got like the little like thin type floggers that like they've got plastic tails on them. I'm like, oh, that could be interesting. Maybe something to try at a later date. So I've got belly buttons and thin floggers that I need to try. Okay, so that is me done. Thank you. Yeah, like I say, if you've got any questions, ping me a message through, or if you've got any questions now you want to ask in private, I'll be in here for another 5 minutes by the enough.